Welcome to another Bandology interview. Bandology is a Canadian nonprofit dedicated to more music for more kids via education, collaboration, and community.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to another episode of What's Your Forte? I'm Kathryn, the business coordinator at Bandology. I'm joined today with Rachel Campbell, a multi-instrumental musician who plays a wide variety of styles and has played from Montreal to Toronto. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited to be here today.
We're excited to have you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're currently working on as a musician?
I am a small-town musician. I grew up in a town called Alexandria, and my mom was a music teacher, so I grew up in a music school, which is where my musical endeavors have started. And growing up, I've played a lot of gigs, and I continue to around the area, but it's slowly grown towards Montreal and Toronto and the Ottawa region, which has been really fun. Yeah.
I love that. And so you mentioned that you kind of started with your mom learning music. So when did you first pick up an instrument, and kind of what instruments do you play and the styles of music do you play?
Yeah, that's a great question. As I mentioned, music school, my mom is a music teacher for both piano and voice. So I started piano at age of 3. You could say that my first instrument was voice, but that's our own instrument that we all individually have. I started that as a baby, but for piano it was at 3. And then after that, I moved on to the violin at 6. I had begged my mom for a violin, and I had seen my brother play cello a lot, and I thought it was just so cool. I wanted a string instrument myself. And so I started that, and then moved on to harp when I was 9, and then mandolin when I was 12, cajon at 15, and I am now starting to play the guitar finally. It took me a while to get there, but we're starting it. Yeah, and then also for the styles, I grew up being classically trained in my violin, piano, and voice. I have a diploma in piano, but also throughout that, I've learned to play different genres such as jazz, Celtic, rock, popular, etc. And it's been really fun to be able to collaborate with different artists and also different mentors who have taught me.
So what's your favorite style of music then? Or is that kind of like choosing your favorite child? You can't really make that decision.
It is a very difficult decision to make. I think it's something that changes periodically depending on what you're doing in your life. Currently, right now, I'm really enjoying the Celtic punk scene. I know that the mixture may seem odd, but it is such a great collaborative mixture, and you can kind of just let go with your music and have fun with it. As well, I really enjoy maybe some indie pop and indie rock. And so that's been interesting to dive into currently. Yeah.
That's so cool. I like the combination too. It's like so amazing. And so you mentioned while you were explaining kind of about your journey and like learning all the different instruments, you had a lot of mentors. And I just wanted to ask kind of who they are and who your major influences are.
I was really lucky to have some special mentors in my life who have taught me a wide variety of skills, and also thought processes that went towards how I thought about music and gave me a grander lens on the whole idea of it. Some of them, thinking back, I think of my piano teacher, Mrs. Wayman. Her name is Margaret Wayman, but I always wanted to call her Mrs. Wayman. She was a retired piano teacher, and she came from Germany, moved to Alexandria, and she really taught me how to find love in music and to put love into music as playing, so that you can tell a story as you play, let's say, piano without words, and to really incorporate the musical qualities of it all with dynamics and with curvatures and etc. It was really fun to go to our house. We go there for 3 hours and just talk about it all once a week. And then I'd have teachers who were like my violin teacher, Rachel Kozak, that was all about the music hacks. So he would teach me a different perspective of looking at it by getting me to play a piece backwards, or by taking a measure and playing notes like the first note to the third note to the fifth note to the second and the fourth. So it's such an abstract way of looking at music that it made you realize that there is so much more to it than what meets the eye. And I really appreciated that from him a lot. You mentioned influences as musicians, very influenced by a lot of 70s music, such as Elton John, as well as some folk. Joni Mitchell, grew up with her. She's my mom's favorite. And yeah, I would say that's a good maybe representation of what I grew up with.
That's incredible. And I know that influences and mentors, they can just have such a great impact on somebody's life. And I have mentors as well. And they really showed just what music can really mean to somebody and how you can really express yourself. And I think you said it so well. And so I know you clearly love music. But what drew you to pursue music as a career, and kind of what has been your career trajectory so far?
I've had quite a little bit of a back and forth. Growing up with music, I think I realized that I took it for granted, and I needed a small break from it to be able to come back to it with a new light. So I actually, for the past 2 years, went to university in microbiology and social work to have a different taste of what other things may include. But I just found music calling my name so loudly. And even without trying, I ended up finding bands to play with. And I just was so lured back into it. And after playing in Toronto and Montreal, I could not ignore it anymore. So I have come right back to music, currently teaching music. And I'm really looking forward to what that will lead towards. I'm open to anything that comes my way.
I think that's really inspiring for a lot of people who, might love music, but maybe need a break from it, or, aren't sure. And the idea is that, you don't have to know, and you can really, try out what you want to try out. And, music is there for you through everything.
100%. And I would really say for advice that music, it's really important for you to make it your own and to find a safe space in it, a space for you to really indulge into your creativity, just as an outlet of any kind. It's just so important to keep that a safe, creative place for anyone looking into music. Definitely.
As somebody who is, not a professional musician, but somebody who still, uses music as an outlet, it's so important, and it really expresses your creativity. Yes. I love that. And you mentioned playing in Montreal and Toronto. So do you have any career highlights that you can think of? Anything that you've loved doing, like performing music or anything like that?
Yes, this past year has been really eye-opening. As I mentioned, playing in Toronto, Montreal, this band had reached out to me that I had by chance played with in Halifax last summer. I brought my fiddle on my back to quite a few bars. There was a lot of bluegrass going on. I just joined quite a few bands just for fun. And some of them had reached out, and one of them by chance was coming to Toronto and asked if I wanted to play with them again. And those gigs were just so fun. It was a gypsy rock folk band called Horse Bath. And they were just very creative, very fun. We opened up for some awesome artists too that play in Nashville and around the world. Sierra Farrell, that was awesome getting to meet her. And then also just like going from Toronto one day to the next to Montreal and being able to afterwards like be in the crowd and mingle and meet more musicians. It was just really eye-opening to what the music scene is, and I fell in love with it again.
That's so exciting. And were you able to then almost be a tourist in, Montreal and Toronto and discover a bit, or have you already been, you might have already been to Toronto and Montreal, but were you able to
I'm pretty an avid tourist, or not tourist, but traveler. I like to travel to a lot of places. So I've been to Toronto quite a few times before that. And my hometown is actually an hour away from Montreal. So I've performed there quite often growing up. generally, but not as much in Toronto. So it was really nice to have the opportunity to be there and also to experience the nightlife and the people that can be there. Part of it was stressful. They had called me only 3 days before the gig, so I had to learn everything right beforehand. And some of them they added in the right last minute, but it gave me confidence to know that I could actually do those things, even last minute. And for anyone that can sometimes feel or hold themselves back from doing something because they don't feel necessarily prepared, the best thing you can do is just throw yourself out there and see what happens. It can be truly eye-opening.
Yeah, like you said, like build the confidence too, and even the musicianship to be the fact that you can do that and learn everything 3 days in advance. I definitely could not do that. So the fact that you can do that now, and now you know you can do it. So
yeah,
incredible. And so you just kind of mentioned some advice, but do you have any other advice for young musicians interested in pursuing, the fiddle or any instrument and any, music career?
I would really follow what your heart tells you. And I would take your time, because music can be very stressful and it can be a really vast thing where you don't know where to go with things. And it can feel like you need to do something quickly to prove to yourself that you can do it. But really, it's just important to take your time with it and to really work on what creative projects that really work with you and what you want to show to the world, and to collaborate with others, because you're not going to learn by just being with yourself. There's so many thoughtful, creative, and very wisdom-filled people out there that can teach you so much. I would suggest maybe finding someone in your area that you really respect and seeing if you can shadow them, which means like taking some mentoring lessons, going to their shows, seeing if you can maybe like replace or learn from them as you do that. I would say that's really, really important. But again, as I mentioned before, keeping it a safe, creative place, and also finding a space for you that is dedicated only to music, whether that means going to a certain studio, let's say if you're in university or if you're at school, always going in that certain room and keeping that your creative space to just take time to work on what makes you happy and and kind of working on your skill. And yeah, that's what I would say. There's so much to give. I could never stop talking about it.
Oh, I love that advice. And I think I'm going to take the advice of, finding like a space where I just relax and play music. Yeah. I love that. I think everybody needs that, no matter what their outlet is, just kind of a space where they can be themselves, be creative. And yeah, wonderful advice.
Yes. Just to add a quick thing there, because music can be stressful at times. It is an art form that can be very last minute for gigs, etc. So just keeping yourself grounded is really important. Yeah.
Amazing. And so this is one of our last questions. Why is music education important to you?
Oh, it's so important. Oftentimes we can come up with these great ideas of things that we want to accomplish, or that dream, that goal of what we want to do with our arts, our creative arts, but we don't necessarily know how to get there. And sometimes we don't even know certain ideas that we could create because we haven't had the chance to be exposed to new ideas. And so music education can really give you that space to be surrounded with, again, wisdom-filled people, as I mentioned before, that can show you new tools as to how to go about your goals, or to develop new goals that you didn't even know that can drive your passion, as well as things like technical skills, like learning how chords work and how they can fall into each other and create a very harmonious like melody and so on. It can be very eye-opening. And whether you're in music or in a different career, you always want to keep learning. I think it's very, very important to keep that in mind because you never know what's out there.
That was so well said. I love this idea of keeping on learning and growing, because in music, you can always, I don't know if being better is the right word, but you can always add, something to it, your own twist to it. And you can always, progress and grow. And I think that's one of the beauties of music.
Yes. And music is a fast changing industry. So there's always new things to learn. And it's good to be kept updated on what those things are so that you can better your career and also cater to your audience, whatever target audience you have.
Amazing. Yeah. And even, doing different styles like you do, really. Oh, that's really, really good.
That is a great thing you said there. Always keep your genres very wide and open because that will give you much more opportunities. And you don't know where that will take you. But yeah, that was a great thing you said there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now I'm giving words of wisdom here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks. So now our part of the interview is called the Fast Five. It's rapid fire. Yeah, it's just kind of the first thing that comes to your mind. And so 5 questions. So the first one is, what is your favorite movie soundtrack?
I like Rocket Man, Elton John, one of my favorite movies. And anything that has Elton John in it will make my heart melt. I am a sucker for it. So that would be my favorite soundtrack. Or Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, I was just going to say, I support that. And then what is an instrument you wish you played?
Electric guitar. We're getting there slowly, but that is just such a badass instrument. Yeah.
I love that. That's so fun. And this one, I think this one's the hardest question. What is your hidden talent?
Oh, goodness. My mom taught me very young how to make a trumpet sound. So there's that. I can sound like a trumpet.
Wait, like you mean without a trumpet?
Yeah.
No way. Oh, should I? No, I won't make you do it on the interview.
I can try. I don't know how it'll sound through Zoom.
Okay. The next question is, what is your dream vacation?
Oh, one that never ends. I would say for sure no. Currently right now, I guess it would be Thailand. I would love to be in Thailand right now. Yes, please.
That's amazing. And the last Fast Five is, what is the last show you binge watched? Or if you're not a binge, Netflix person, then what's the last book you've binge read, I guess?
There's been 2 shows I've been watching lately. One of them would be The Lock and Key. The 3rd season has been out. I enjoy watching that. It's been super fun. As well as Stranger Things. We're all big fans of Stranger Things.
Can't go wrong with either of those. Yeah. I'm still in the 1st season for both of them, but I've enjoyed what I've watched so far. I love that.
That's awesome.
And the last question I have, it's no longer Fast Five. It's just, do you have any exciting plans or new projects coming up that you want to share with our audience?
I do, actually. I have this. We've talked before about the dream and the goal and how to get there. I currently have a dream and goal that I'm working on how to get there, but it's called the Hive Project. And it's basically to create a platform for all types of artists to be able to express themselves. I'm not sure exactly how that will be created, but there's a lot of ideas that are involved in that. So I'd love to do like a project or album based on people's life experiences, maybe around the area, and to maybe do different albums based on different subgroups in Canada, US, etc., around the world, because really it would, we're facing in this generation that we're in an issue of maybe miscommunication or not totally understanding what others also go through. And how can we find a platform to express that? And so I'm working with different artists to see how we can possibly go about that. But I'm really excited, whether that includes like artists like painters or dancers and just people who have had life stories that they can share to others so that we can better understand each other, and also have there's that empathy for each other and patience. Also to involve psychologists and different fields that could really help to express these things and to create a healing space for everybody. I still don't know how this will look like, but it's slowly starting, and I'm very excited to see how this will develop in my musical career.
To me, like whenever I thought of why music is important to me, it's because it helps, connect people and share those life experiences. So when you're saying this, I really want to see where this project takes you, because I think especially in today's world, we really need a way of connecting to one another. And I think music could really be that kind of that bridge, and the arts in general as well could really be that bridge between people, which, I really want to see where this project takes you.
I'm excited too. No idea yet where it's going to go, but we've got hopes.
That's amazing. So thank you so much, Rachel, for coming. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. It's been a great time to answer the questions and also have a space to share some ideas. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be super helpful for everybody watching. Just a final thank you so much for joining us on our episode of What's Your Forte, and for sharing your musical journey with us. I loved hearing all about your experiences, and especially about your project at the end. That's so cool. Thank you to everyone who's listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of What's Your Forte.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard, you can learn more about our organization at bandology.ca, which features information about music education, advocacy and research, and our Play a Gig and Bandcamp programs. Follow us on social media for more videos, performance, and interviews on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.